So, I'm going to go in a new direction now. Still the same format, but I'm now going to start training for muscle ups. And I laugh because it's almost a little bit ridiculous for a man of my age and proportion to be able to train for muscle ups. However, I did have one of my first subscribers and one of the first people who ever commented on my videos asked me if I could do a tutorial on muscle ups. And I gave it some thought, and I said, yeah, I probably could. I'm a former flying trapeze artist, and I used to coach gymnastics. So I do know a thing or two about how to train for muscle ups. I'm just not able to do them myself. So I thought, since I've got the two prerequisites down, which is good pull-ups and good dips, decent ones anyways, maybe I should start training for myself and just kind of document how I do it. And here's one of the first exercises I would get into is right here. This is just transition practice. And not a hard exercise, but I am not using hardly any weight whatsoever. I may be using 90% or supporting 90% of my weight with my legs. And I'm just practicing this transition movement because I'm not used to it. I've never really trained for muscle ups. At 6'4" with a 6'8" wingspan, it's just not an exercise that is really practical, but it might be feasible. I would say it's a long shot, and it's going to take me a long time to even have a chance of doing muscle ups. I would say at least a year of training, consistent training. But since I'm pretty strong with pull-ups and I'm getting better with the dips, I thought, why don't I just start training for the muscle up myself and just kind of show people my process? Because there's no one really out there at my age and at my size who does muscle ups, especially training at a truck. I'll probably be the first ever long haul 50-year-old truck driver to just train for muscle ups in the first place, not to mention even have a chance of getting a muscle up. I don't know. So at this point, okay, here's some good stretches to do. I'm doing more stretching between sets because range of motion is going to become critical now. And that's what my training, it's still going to be lots of dips, lots of push-ups, lots of pull-ups and chin-ups, but I'm really going to be stressing the range of motion, as you'll see here. And here I'm doing some wrist circles. Also very important because I noticed in that, just doing that transition exercise that I was doing right at the start, even just doing that with barely using any of my body weight, supporting most of my body weight with my legs, was still pretty hard on the wrists and elbows. I'm goofing off a little bit. So it's important to do those kind of wrist preparation exercises. I would definitely look those up, how to strengthen your wrists and your hands, because something like the muscle up puts way more stress on your tendons and ligaments. And now I'm kind of starting with the bulk of my workout. Just do some bench dips, and I'm just going nice and low and really going for a stretch. I'm just doing about, I think, a set of 5 here. And then I go to dips and pull-ups where I do sets of 3. And I take a longer rest between each set. Whereas before, on my arm day, I would do like 7 sets of 7. And here I'm going to do 5 sets of 3 for both chin-ups and dips. And you'll see I'm going a lot slower, and I'm really trying to stress that top position. Really trying to pull as high as I can, and even kind of, you'll see me kind of pulling a little bit, trying to get a little extra motion at the top there, and just doing nice and controlled, just maximum range of motion, and really trying to get as much out of that top end, that top range of motion, or that top position as much as I can. And you'll see the same with the dips here. Okay, there's a little turnout, which is great for just shoulder stability and your joints. I'm going nice and slow, and that is very deep for me. I have not done dips this deep in I don't know how long. When I was doing them before, I was doing like 7 sets of 7. I would go down to where my arm was about parallel, or my elbows were at a 90 degree. Now I'm going, for me at least, well beyond that. There's another finish with the force out. And I'm just doing sets of 3, and I'm taking about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes rest between sets. And I edit that out because it's just me standing around in the truck. I just want to show, the work and talk about what I'm doing. But I'm taking about 1 minute, about 90 seconds rest between each set here. And the main reason I'm doing lower reps with longer rest between sets is because this is now pretty much pure strength training, especially at the extreme ends of my range of motion. We're just going down deep for the dips, and for doing muscle ups, I even want to get deeper than that. So I've really got to stress that lower position in the dips. And it's much more of a strain on my shoulders, but my shoulders held up to this workout really well, which I'm pleased. There is a little tenderness in my left shoulder, as there always is, but it did the dips no problem. So I'm just going to kind of continue doing what I'm doing right here. But with pure strength training, it's different than what I was doing before, because that was more just general. Yeah, there was strength training, but I was also pushing the pace for general conditioning, going really more for just get a really good pump, which is great for overall just muscular development and getting in good shape. However, when you're training for pure strength, which is what I'll be doing now, and see right there, I'm not able to go quite as low in those dips. So my range of motion, even just this right here, is kind of starting to be limited. So there I'm going to kind of low. You need to, however, take more rest between each set when you're doing pure strength training. It's lower reps. I would say in general, you want to work in a 3 to 5 repetition range and take 90 seconds to 2 minutes at least between each set, because you want more recovery between each set. This is how Olympic lifters train, how powerlifters train. In fact, they'll take like 3 to 5 minutes between each set because they're using such extreme weight. But with body weight strength training, I think 90 seconds to 2 minutes is just fine. There's also the fact that I need to be careful with my time. It's going to take a little bit more time out of my day to train this way, yet I can't do too much because of my job. I've got places to be. I got to get a certain amount of driving done every day. I got to squeeze it all in, make this all work, which is not easy, but I'm going to get it done regardless. And this is what I'm going to be doing. There I'm finishing up with an L-sit. It's my very last set. And those are things I'm going to be starting doing more and more of too. This kind of the static strength skill movements that I like to do that are excellent for just building stability and strength in the joints. Now it's the last set of chin-ups here. And I'm just going all the way up. I guess that's about as far as I can get. And I'm really trying to just get my chest over that bar as much as possible. And I'm going to be doing the same day when I do back day. So it's going to be kind of the same approach, same exercises, but really stressing, like I said, my range of motion, especially the top range of motion, which I need to be able to one day, possibly, maybe, get some muscle ups. And I want to train for a strict ring muscle up, not for the kip ups or where you're jerking your feet, doing all that kind of, swinging your body around to build momentum. No, I'm going to train for a strict muscle up. And I just kind of want to document the journey as I go and just keep making these videos. It'll be something different, something new as I learn and keep doing things and keep experimenting. I'm just going to make videos about it and just kind of learn as I go and see how things work out. Like I said at the beginning, I don't know how it's all going to pan out from here. This is a very, very difficult, extremely difficult movement to do at my size, in my age. But we're going for it anyways. That being said, this video is about to finish up. We got about 5 more seconds. So we're going to call it. We'll see you next time, everybody.